film festival, but present day I run multiple film festivals, and I do some conventions also with dark arts and oddities and some Comic-Con style stuff. But in 2020, none of that's been able to really exist as it usually would.
Right.
So in 2020, all my conventions have been postponed to next year, and I'm hoping that they'll still be able to play out as planned. We'll see what happens with this pandemic. But the film festivals all ended up running online in some kind of an online format.
Right.
Beyond that, I didn't do any film work early in the year. I had some plans that all got scrapped because of, again, the pandemic. But at the tail end of this year, I've been able to push through a couple of films. One of them recently called The Greenies we finished production on. And that one's kind of a creature story based on a couple of kids going out in the woods looking for this local legend known as the Greenies. A lot of fun creature makeup involved in that. It was a great film experience. Everybody did great, and everybody came away without being sick. And it was excellent.
It was the chlorophyll.
The chlorophyll.
Yeah, it was the chlorophyll. It was the chlorophyll in the trees out in the woods, man.
Maybe.
You guys are breathing a lot better being out there in the wild and not getting all those UV rays from the sun. You know, all those people out in Los Angeles are scared of all that shit. You talked to Jeff Goldblum, though. He talks about moonburn. So now you better be careful when you go outside at night.
Well, I have another film that I'm shooting right now. We're in production that you're in, actually.
Yes, sir.
It's called Working Out the Kinks. It's a comedy. It's like a raunchy comedy for adults. It's got a lot of sexual references, and it's very, very hilarious. It's an idea that I sprung.
Definitely not a family-friendly film, people.
I think it's excellent.
Well, it's great for our families, but for anybody else, I don't know about.
Lynn Laurie, huge cult horror actress, Lynn Laurie, who's also a Playboy Playmate, will be making a cameo appearance in that film. And then we have Lillian Lamore, along with yourself, rounding up the cast on that. And all these are planned to premiere next April 10th as part of the Breaking Fate Film Festival. It's kind of a night of premieres event that we do every year when there's not a pandemic making us not do it.
Now let's hope that somebody from the Golden Globes is there. That would be awesome.
Beyond films, most of it's getting ready to do more and more of this radio stuff. The podcast, the Pod of Mayhem, as well as a few others at breakingfateradio.com. That's all that's really happening right now. Kind of a hurry up and wait.
Speaking of doing radio, now you mentioned to me a little bit earlier that you had had a record label. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, Breaking Fate Entertainment, a lot of people think it's just movies, and it's not. And a lot of people think, oh, it's just movies and radio, but it's not. We actually have Breaking Fate Records, Breaking Fate Publishing, which is book publishings, Breaking Fate Radio, Breaking Fate Films, Breaking Fate Wrestling, even. Breaking Fate Records, we've produced one album for a band out of Chicago called Sinister Fate, gothic metal group. And the album was called Hellbound. And otherwise, that department is kind of sat still waiting for more help or more interest to help pick it up. A lot of what we do involves people coming in saying, I really have a lot of experience in this, and I'm looking for a nice group to join to make these things happen. So as soon as I find the right person to man that department, then I hope to see more things come of the record label, but we have only produced one album there. As far as book publishings, Jason Davis, the founder of Chicago Horror Film Festival, is running that for a handful of years because he does mostly writings himself. He's a multi-published author. And he also set up all the anthologies we've done through there. But after last year, he's stepped away, concentrated on his own endeavors because he's got a lot of things going on himself.
So now we got two departments that are open.
Yeah, well, Breaking Fate Publishing, I have an open call for short stories of a paranormal nature for another anthology called Lost in the Witching Hour. I believe that's this one. Or no, I'm sorry, Departed Whispers. Lost in the Witching Hour we've actually published already. But Departed
Don't listen
Whispers,
to that last comment, folks. He forgot.
It happens.
It happens.
We do a lot of things here. It's hard to remember it all. I'm just one man.
There is a lot going on with BFE. I mean, you guys do so much stuff. Actually, I was a part of a project that we tried to open up over in Gatlinburg, Tennessee a couple years ago, which brings me to our wrestling question. That there, man, like that's something that we worked a lot on, and it was going pretty good. So you tell me a little bit more about the ins and outs of that.
I actually did a podcast for Jason Davis, same guy we were talking about before. He did a podcast called Streak Speak Radio, and he had me on several years ago.
Right.
And I had just gotten to Tennessee early. It was my early arrival in Tennessee. I moved to Gatlinburg at the time. And he had asked me, you got the record label, and you got the publishing company, and you're doing all the film stuff now, and it seems like I'm always grabbing new things to, run with. What's going to be next? I mean, when all these departments are doing their thing, what's the next thing? And I told him, if I was going to expand, I was going to expand into sports, and I think that I would do something either really simple and ridiculous, like a bowling league or a softball league, or I would start to venture into doing professional wrestling as a booker promoter. And I started working on that. I actually brought you, Jeff Phoenix, on board to help me scout out talent in the area, go to a bunch of other shows, see the great things that they're doing, meet people, start to network, let them know who we are, what we're trying to do, and
get kicked out of town, pitchforks and torches.
It came to be a lot of that, yeah, but the whole idea was to be able to build a network and be able to work with other promotions as opposed to against them, because there seems to be a lot of that. And I just, and as I watch, you know this because you've seen it yourself, as I visit a lot of these promotions in the one geographical region, which was just in the East Tennessee region we were really looking at a lot anyway, you notice that a lot of these promotions are fighting each other and trying to make competition when it's not necessary. I mean, they have a lot of the same performers in ring. Some of them have backstage people that are the same, but for some reason the promotions want to do battle with each other as opposed to it being a helpful thing where they're doing it on stage in a ring, something to that effect, where they cross promote and do a lot of great for each other. They're only doing harm to each other, and that was...
Yeah, we come down to, there was a show that we were putting on, and we rode around almost the entirety of East Tennessee.
Yeah.
Within, probably an 80-mile radius of where we were living at, and putting up posters. And we would get phone calls and text messages or videos of
people ripping them down.
Yeah, other promotions coming by, and we were doing charity work. We were doing a show for a little kid who was deathly sick.
Yeah, as a 2-year-old named
Right.
JT Davis, and he had multiple heart surgeries. He's a little fighter. He's still fighting now.
Oh yeah,
great kid. And we
shout out to the fam.
Yeah, we actually enlisted Al Snow. Anybody who knows wrestling knows who Al Snow is from ECW, WWF, WWE. He actually runs the Ohio Valley Wrestling now, OVW, which used to be WWE's training ground, but now it's like a school. It's like a wrestling school, which is great. But he came out, and he was amazing. And we also had Brian Christopher Lawler, who is the son of the great Jerry Lawler. And Brian Christopher, rest his soul, has passed away not too very long after he came to work with us. Yeah, I was fighting some demons, but he was a great guy, and he certainly...
Yeah, he definitely was truly talented, and he was very sweet.
Yeah, but the wrestling
love those
biz...
kids, man.
Wrestling biz, down there it was a battle. I had a lot of great performers that wanted to get involved. I had a lot of people who were flaky, like anything else that you do. You just kind of find and weed out those situations. But trying to produce a charity show was an eye-opening experience. I've been doing charity work. That's how I started my production company, was doing charity work. And to see the way that the other promotions would try to rip you down as opposed to help each other out was very disheartening, to say the least. And it got very personal. And I'll have to thank Tank Hurley. I did work with him. The show was more his than mine, really. I did a lot of the booking and came up with stories. Basically did most of the creative ideas for the show.
Right.
And it was his Gladiators Wrestling show, which does all charity events. All their wrestling shows are charity events, yet they're still going to rip him down for everything he's doing, too. It's unfortunate.
It's a bunch of bullshit's what it is.
I just wish people could, wipe away that everything has to be some kind of a massive challenge with somebody's pissing in your Cheerios.
Right.
That's not it at all. I was really hoping to work with other promotions. And I know I talked to you personally off radio about this briefly yesterday, watching some AEW stuff. That what AEW has done is a lot of the same business model that I presented to you and everybody else early on in trying to create that, where we have new up-and-coming people that we had under contract that we were going to help develop and build a name for.
Oh, yeah.
One of them's an MMA fighter, Jacob, really good guy. I won't get into a lot of the details, really, but we had some great people involved at the ground floor that were really, really into what I had planned. And after the shit show that ended up becoming the pre-production with the other wrestling franchises in the area, it just became a mess. But
yeah, see, I had always envisioned this dream. They've had this plot of land for sale for the last 5 years out there. I was like, I'm going to hit the Mega Millions or the Powerball, and then I'm going to build this huge, I'm going to buy that land and build this huge wrestling arena inside, and like all the other promotions, I'll buy you out, be like Vince McMahon, and just minus the whole WWE bullshit.
Well, a lot of people think that our wrestling department has died because we did this one major charity show.
Right.
And
she's just sleeping.
Oh, yeah, we haven't done anything with it. I've been moving a lot. We actually have a pandemic, which has slowed some other ideas down. But I'll just say that there's some things brewing behind the scenes that people are not at all aware of.
Right.
And that Breaking Fate Wrestling is far from dead. It's just kind of taking a little nap at the moment, preparing for the major forward ahead,
Right on. So speaking of other things going on at Breaking Fate Entertainment, you told me earlier about some of the awards that you had won, that you've won Best Actor, Best Filmmaker, Best Director, and then...
No Best Director, but I wish one day it'll happen.
Well, hey, man, I got my own award ceremony coming up here pretty soon. I might give you a Best Director award for that.
Can't play favorites like that. You gotta go by the film's quality.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Learn a lesson from that, kids. If your children listening to this, why? We love your parents. So anyways.
I did win a Best Actor award for my performance as the leading title character, Gordon Finn, in the movie Gordon Finn.
Badass movie, by the way.
Yeah, it's a black and white, like a 22, 25-minute short film directed by Wolf McKinney. It's his directorial debut. I produced it. It's a script that I sat on for several years before it got produced, like so many of them do. It's a character I really wanted to play. It was just a matter of finding the right director to come in and take part in that. And it did really well. It got a lot of awards. I think we won 13 or 14 different awards. I won Best Actor for that performance twice. The first one was the Smoky Night Film Festival, and honestly, I forget what the second one was now. I should look that up. But yeah, Best Actor.
Well, I tell you, man, you guys have definitely had a lot of accomplishments and everything. But the awards, I mean, is there anything specific that Breaking Fate Entertainment, other than your own personal career, anything that you guys have accomplished with that?
Everything that is Breaking Fate is me in a way, but we've accomplished a lot, and it's not just of my own projects or even Breaking Fates, but we've used our resources to help other filmmakers or artists in general. We try to provide stages for people that might not necessarily always get the opportunity. Like our film festivals, a lot of people think you have to have the absolute best high-quality film to get accepted into a film festival, and we kind of break it up into different grades. You have those extremely high, production value with a lot of money in their budget, multi-million-dollar films.
Right.
And we also have the middle of the road And we also have the local to the film festival community we try to support. So if you're a local filmmaker and maybe you're just getting started, it's your first film, you can't get it in any other festival.